What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Good morning. A new era is upon us. It is day one of the Erik Ten Hag Manchester United era. Erik Ten Hag is being presented to the media today in sort of two forms. We've got this interview, this exclusive interview of Manchester United that has just dropped in the last couple of minutes or so as I'm recording this video. He is then going to be presented to the wider media at midday, 12 o'clock British summertime today. So we are going to be live. Flex, myself, KG, we're going to be live after the press conference to give our thoughts, views, opinions, what Erik Ten Hag's had to say, the more difficult questions he is going to face later today, certainly when he has these kind of early interviews with the in-house Manchester United media. They tend to be some maybe more safer questions, easier questions to answer, or the more straightforward sort of PR answers, if you will. Nevertheless, he has said some interesting stuff. I've got the transcript in front of me right now, so let's get straight into some of the things that the new Manchester United manager has said. So the first question was, welcome to Manchester United. How do you feel about starting this new chapter in your career? And Erik Ten Hag said, quote, I would say the word exciting. I'm really looking forward to doing this job at this club with massive history, and we want to restore it to where it belongs. So pretty, bog standard stuff. Again, as I mentioned before, in sort of summary, before we get it really into the nitty gritty of every answer, there's nothing sort of earth-shattering, groundbreaking about any of these answers. But in fairness, it's what you would expect. As I mentioned, most managerial appointments, when they have their first interview, their first press conference, it's largely about happy to be here, it's a great thrill, it's a great honour, we want to do great things at the club, we want to restore the club back to where it was before, we want to win titles, we want to win trophies, I'm looking forward to my first game at Old Trafford, I'm looking forward to playing in the great stadium that is Old Trafford, I'm looking forward to working with the players, all that kind of stuff. So the next question was quite an interesting one, saying, what excites you the most about this opportunity of managing this club? And he said, quote, I think many. First of all, we want to make the fans proud. Second, of course, we are in this moment. The current situation is obviously not that good. It's a big challenge. I want to build and construct a team who are battling for each other, who are unified, and who will get results. Also, we are playing in the theatre of dreams. We want to entertain. But in the end, the intention is to play fantastic football. If we can't play fantastic football, we still have to win, which I think is quite interesting, actually. That was one of the answers that he did say that I went, that's quite curious, because with everything that's sort of coming out this morning, which is fascinating, by the way. If you haven't seen some of those articles, the one written yesterday by Laurie Whitwell of The Athletic, and particularly the one this morning by Samuel Luckhurst from the Manchester Evening News, talking about the Ralf Rangnick era, his tenure at Manchester United, the mind-boggling division in the dressing room. Some of the comments the players have made about Rangnick and his coaching staff, in my opinion, are abhorrent and disrespectful, lacking class. Whether or not you believe it to be true or not, whether Ralf Rangnick you believe is the worst coach ever, some of the things that have been said or have been leaked or have been said to some journalists is frankly disgusting. Truly, it's frankly disgusting, some of the things that have been said. And I think what is really interesting about Erik Ten Hag's answer there is where he says, I want a team that are battling for each other. I want a team that are unified and ultimately that get results. We have not seen any of that this season. Have we seen a team that's fighting for each other? The answer is no. Have we seen a team that's unified? Certainly not. Certainly not a unified team or dressing room or club at this point. And thirdly, have we seen a team that's going to or has got results this season? The answer is no. We couldn't get one yesterday and we barely qualified for the Europa League. That's a big challenge in itself. I enjoyed what he's saying about playing in the theatre of dreams, of course, saying we want to entertain and we want to play fantastic football, but if we can't, we still have to win. And I think that's a really key aspect as well. You see it a lot in big teams nowadays. Of course, the big teams in this league, like Liverpool, Manchester City, 9 times out of 10, or for the majority of their games, they're playing nice, attractive, entertaining football. But you can't play like that every week. There are some games where you're not playing well, or you're not playing to the standard that you would have hoped, or you have previously set yourselves. But those big teams, they still win. Manchester United used to do it all the time under Sir Alex. Yes, we'd have great games where we dominated teams and we played well, but there would be games where you'd say, I tell you what, we didn't play that well today, but we got the job done. Now, previously, under people like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Solskjaer, we didn't play very well that often, and we still got the job done at times. But usually when you're not playing well consistently, it's a precursor to bad things happening. And that's exactly what happened to Manchester United this season. So I think that was an interesting answer by Erik ten Hag there as well. Now, the next question was about how quickly Erik ten Hag has come over to Manchester United after finishing his tenure as the Ajax head coach. The question was, it was only 1 week, it was only last week rather, your last game at Ajax, and you're already here in England. What made you want to come so quickly? You didn't take a break, you literally came straight after finishing with Ajax. He said, quotes, before a season, you have to prepare, and when you're in a club, I will say it's a continual process. You're working on next season, and still you are in the current season, but we didn't have the time now. Now we are close. Now we close the season, and I'm coming over to meet people and roll out the strategy to prepare pre-season, prepare staff, and prepare the squad. Which we've spoke about this quite a lot recently with ten Hag finishing up at Ajax, and immediately the next day I'm coming over to the UK. I'm finalising my backroom staff. I'm preparing the pre-season schedule. I'm preparing what I want when it comes to transfer targets. I'm preparing what I expect from players. I'm preparing everything. As I've said a million times, Ten Hag is a details guy. Nothing is left to chance under this guy. And he's right to, because with the shape that the Manchester United club is in right now, with the shape that the squad are in right now, especially with what he's seen yesterday at Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park, he will know the devil truly is in the details when it comes to Manchester United, because there is nothing that can be winged here. There is nothing that can be left to chance. Not at all, because if he puts faith in players, or he puts faith in people around him at the club, not necessarily his confidants in Mitchell van der Gaag and Steve McLaren, who were confirmed as his assistant coaches today, if he puts his faith in other people around the club, he will largely fail, because those people, whether it's in the playing squad or in the executive people around Manchester United, they have failed continuously for the last decade. So the devil is truly in the detail. And you look at other people when they came into Manchester United, whether it was David Moyes, he came in, started July 1st, and reportedly was completely cold. Nothing had been done, and he was already scrambling and scrabbling around for time. Louis van Gaal was the same. He had done some form of preparation, but he was still at the World Cup with Holland that prior summer, and again, it was a situation whereby he wasn't fully prepared when he came in. And as Erik ten Hag says, and it's very true, clubs and managers and coaches start preparing for the following season in around January. They really do. And people say, but why would you do that? You're still in the major parts of the season. That's true, but it is a continual process. So I do think that was a good answer by Erik ten Hag there. Next was the question saying there are a lot of people who really liked your long-term vision for this football club. What can you share with us about what you see in the future for Manchester United? He said, quote, it's first, accept the current situation, but also know 1 year ago, this team was second in the Premier League. There's potential. Now it's up to us to get that out. It's a process. It will take time, but I'm convinced we will come to that point where we get success. We have to work hard, and it has to be based on the right philosophy and strategy. Now, he did say this a couple of times during the interview, going, this team, last year they were second in the Premier League. I feel like he was maybe saying that for the sake of trying to build up some of the players, trying to make them have a bit of confidence in themselves, and trying to sort of say, well, they were second, so maybe we can get something out of them. Obviously, what we have seen out of Manchester United this season, and a lot of players, some players, not all of them, because I do think legitimately some of the playing levels of some of these players are legitimately their level, which is concerning. But there are some players you could say certainly are better than what they've demonstrated this season. I think that's fair, but continuously to point out that we were second last season in the Premier League, I don't know if you can really look that much into it, honestly, because we were still miles off. We were still miles off the top of the league. And yeah, we had some good moments, some good results, and we did beat people like City away and what have you, but I don't know if you can totally read too much into that. I think the point he's trying to make, and I will give him the benefit of the doubt here, I think the point he's trying to make is those players, at least some of them, are better than what they're showing, which I think is fair. Some of those players are better than what they have shown this season, but can you read too much into being second in the Premier League last season? I'm not sure you can. I do think he's right, though. It is going to take time. It is a process. They do have to work hard. Whether or not some of those players want to work hard is another point entirely. But one would hope that we have a philosophy in place because that's been so absent for Manchester United for a long time. Now, when it comes to what's going to happen in the next few weeks, the next question was, in terms of the short term, what are you seeing happening in the first few weeks? And Ten Hag said, quote, first we have a break. We will start pre-season on the 27th of June, and I will get a few of the squad, a few of the individual players. In certain positions, we want to renew the squad. But as I said, 1 year ago, this squad was second in the league. So there is potential, and I'm really looking forward to cooperating with the squad. So maybe he's kind of trying to ease expectations when it comes to transfers. Maybe he's trying to ease expectations, saying, yes, of course, we want to, as he calls it, renew the squad, which I think is an interesting choice of words, certainly. Speaking of words, the interview was in English, but the entirety of it was subtitled, which, I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe it was just a case of if you were watching it from a... But it was in English subtitle. I don't know. I don't know that one. I think people can... There was this weird narrative about Erik ten Hag for a while that he couldn't speak good English. And if you watch that interview, it's fine. Like, I had no issues understanding Erik ten Hag. So maybe it is just for the people that are, I guess, hearing impaired. Maybe that's just why. Inclusivity, I suppose. Nevertheless, as he mentions about renewing the squad, I think it's an interesting choice of words. It's going to be a lot more than renewing. Maybe he means it in terms of we've got a lot of people leaving, so you would have to renew those positions. You would have to freshen up those positions. I suppose in your first interview, you can't necessarily say, like, you know, we want to get rid of everyone. Everyone's rubbish, and we need to bring in a lot of new players. I'm assuming also that that interview was filmed prior to the game at Selhurst Park yesterday. So maybe his sort of thought process on renewing the squad might just be a smidge different at this point. But the players are going to be back on the 27th of June, and they are going to be looking at renewing the squad. Next question was, speaking of the players, how much are you looking forward to getting to know them and working with them closely? He said, quote, that is really exciting. Also for me, of course, it's new. I was at Ajax for a long time, 4.5 years. We had a great time, but now it's a new start also for me, and we have to build it up from the bottom on zero. I have to build, starting a new relationship with the squad, with my players. So given everything that's happened this morning in terms of what's come out in some of these articles, that's going to be really one of the key aspects for Erik ten Hag, is what relationship can he build with some of these players? Because clearly Ralf Rangnick did not have a good relationship with a lot of these players. Granted, I think a lot of the players he didn't have the best relationships with are probably going to no longer be at the club going forward, considering we've got so many people leaving. But that's going to be massive too, and it's massive in every football job, or in every job in life, right? You have to have a good relationship with your co-workers or the team that you're managing. If you don't, chances are it's not going to go well. Next question was, how important is it then that the players, for the players to make sure they impress you over the summer to get the best out of the squad that you've got? He said, quote, this is what I expect. I have high expectations from myself, and that is also what I demand from my squad. They have to cooperate together. They have to give every day their best. And I would say for me, good is not good enough. We have to do better. Maybe my favorite part of the interview, of him saying that I have high expectations, I expect high things from these players, and good is not good enough. That could be the slogan for Manchester United, honestly. The expectations are super high. And in seasons, even when we have finished in the top four, it was a good season, but good isn't good enough for Manchester United. And I know people can say History FC and all that kind of stuff, but he's right. We do have to do better. We certainly have to do better than we've done this season. That's a given. But even in those seasons where, when we did finish second, he referenced the season when we finished second, but we finished second, okay. Considering where we had been previously, you could say maybe that was a good season, but we got semi-finals, not finals. We didn't win trophies. That isn't good enough for Manchester United. Good is not good enough at Manchester United, and I think that's a really great line by him there. Now, they then talked a lot about, they did reference a lot about Ajax, it must be said here, so we'll go through these quite quickly. In terms of a couple of players, we've got a few links who used to be at Manchester United who have links to Ajax. One is Edwin Van Dassar, who is a United legend, also an Ajax legend. What have you said with him about joining Manchester United? Ten Hag said, quote, yeah, we had some conversations about it. Actually, he was the first one I told that I'd be leaving Ajax and would go to Manchester United. I think in his emotion, he's still Manchester United. He's a fan. He's the biggest fan, maybe. maybe, especially in Ajax, but he has to lead Ajax in this moment, and I'm sure he will always support Manchester United. He will support me, and as long as we're not playing Ajax. And the follow-up to that was, it could happen, couldn't it? And Ten Hag said, well, I hope so. I hope we do play Ajax, because that would mean we're in the Champions League, and we have to return as quickly as possible to that competition, which I suppose does give an insight, certainly, as to where the objectives might be for Manchester United or Erik ten Hag this season. I myself have said that I don't think we should expect him to get top 4, because I think that's going to be really challenging if we have this group of players. I know a lot of players are leaving and we're going to be bringing players in, but there are still going to be players there that I don't think are good enough for Manchester United. But he's been pretty clear about his intentions there. We have to get back in the Champions League as quickly as possible. And I also think it's interesting, considering all of these links to certain Ajax players, whether it's Timber, Anthony, whoever, that he's also saying that Erik ten Hag, that look, if he thinks about Ajax first, Edwin Van Dassar, he is the CEO, but he's maybe Manchester United's biggest fan. And maybe Ten Hag knows that, so he can leverage his relationship with Van Dassar, but also Van Dassar's love for the club as well. The next question was, there's been a long line of former Dutch players and managers here. How excited are you to continue that legacy at this club? He said, quote, yeah, I have to do my best and I will give everything every day. Every day I will go to the maximum that I have, so hopefully I can continue that legacy. Again, that's not really much one to really read into that one, rather. Next question was, Manchester United is a club with such a rich history. Are you looking forward to learning more about that when you go to Old Trafford and the training complex and just seeing how it all works there? Quote, of course, I know the history of Manchester United. I know the big times and the audience, the vibe that can be around Old Trafford. I watched them in their big times when Sir Alex Ferguson was the manager, during the really successful times when they won titles and were dominating Europe, but also before Sir Alex, Man United was a really big club. And I know names like Busby and Charlton that give Man United a presence to the outside world from winning, and winning in a spectacular way. Winning so they entertain people. What stays with me is there was always a fighting culture. They fight together and they get success. And again, he's really hammering home that point there about unity. Fighting together, attractive football, winning in style, but particularly the fighting culture. Never give up, never die. And it's almost the antithesis of what we have seen from Manchester United this season. Withering, rolling over, dying. It's just poor. And that's going to be one of his big things. Getting that unity back. Getting that fighting culture back towards Manchester United. And hopefully it's more than just words, certainly. Next question was asked if he'd ever played Manchester United before, or he'd ever played a game at Old Trafford. He said no. So that was followed up by, are you looking forward to going to the stadium for the first time? He said, of course. I just mentioned the vibe that's in the stadium. Of course, I want to get that experience. The fans behind the ambience at Old Trafford. It would be fabulous. And I'm really looking forward to getting that experience. Next question was, what will it be like when you walk out of that tunnel and you see the 70,000 fans ready to welcome you at Old Trafford? Ten Hag said, I don't know, which I did enjoy. What do you think it's going to be like? Well, I don't know. I haven't done it yet. He said, I don't know. We have to wait for that moment. What they can expect is that I'll give my best. I'll give everything necessary to get Manchester United back to where they belong, which again is what you want to hear. This was interesting, saying that, was it always an aspiration of yours to manage in the Premier League? And he said, I'm not a dreamer. I live by the day. I give my best and I make my decisions based on clearness and logic. We need a good concept. We need the right people around. When we give everything we have every day, then we will get success. Then you will see where you end up. Live by the day and focus on titles, and don't dream about other things that can happen in the future. Basically sort of saying, look, let's not dream about winning Champions Leagues. Let's not dream about winning the Premier League. Let's go day by day. Let's focus on our objectives for that season. Let's focus on every match as it comes. And that's what you got to do. You've got to work hard. Then your dreams will come towards you. And I think that's a very rational thought process there by Ten Hag. Next question was, one of the things Manchester United is known for is its fan base and a worldwide fan base. How excited are you to get to know the fans and for the fans to get to know you as well? He said, quote, I've been aware of the massive presence and the massive audience around Man United. It's all over the world, so I've been aware. I will do my best and take responsibility to deliver them the success that they need. So again, he's constantly talking about success, that Manchester United deserves success. The fans have that success. They belong. They belong in this sort of successful tier, certainly. And that's what we want, certainly. got asked a couple of questions about Ajax, talking about his final sort of weeks at Ajax, and he spoke about how he's very happy with how it ended. Talking about his greatest achievement at Ajax was the journeys in Europe, talking about being Europe-proof as well, talking about the semi-final when he was the Ajax manager, of course, 2018-2019 as well. This was interesting when he was asked about his tenure at Ajax. They was asked, is there a game in particular that you look back on and feel that is exactly how you wanted your team to play? And he said, of course there are, but you can never compare teams. The way we did it with dominant dictating football, that is the way I want to act in Manchester United as well. But finally, the competence and the quality of the people, so the players decide how you have to play. Which is interesting because he's sort of saying, look, I can have a vision of Manchester United. I can have a style that I want Manchester United to play. If I don't have the players to do it, or the players aren't competent enough to do it, then I can't do it. Which I think is quite interesting that he mentions that as well, certainly. Next question was, do you find that when teams come to Ajax, when they play Ajax, it's a little bit like a cup final? When teams come to Old Trafford, they play against United, it's a big occasion. Do you see that as well when you were managing Ajax? He said, quote, I think that's the comparison. I've been in Bayern Munich, I have been in Ajax, and now I've come to Manchester United. I know our opponents are highly motivated. They are over-motivated to beat Man United, and we have to be ready for that, to go and win that battle. Even if they are over-motivated, we have to be more. We always have to be more willing to win the game than the opponent. Which, again, is true. And, again, these are all just words, it must be said, but certainly it is accurate in what he's saying there. Finally, the last few questions here, saying that there are a lot of similarities between Ajax and United in the sense of bringing younger players through the system, a commitment to attacking football. There's a big legacy behind both clubs as well. Did you feel the similarities are there when you agreed to join Man United? He said, quote, yes, already in your question before, there is a similarity in opponents being highly motivated, but also the attacking football. We are playing in the theatre of dreams and have to entertain the opponent. We are playing in the opponent's half and we have to do attacking football. We have to do the pressing, the total high pressing. That is a similarity also, and the adventurous football. Also, Ajax has that history of bringing young talents into the first team. So when he started talking about pressing, high pressing, I thought, ask Ralph. Ask Ralph how high pressing went at Manchester United, which again goes back to his previous statement going, we want to play a certain way, we hope to play a certain way, but it depends on the players. The players dictate how you play. And it'll be interesting to see if they listen to Ten Hag and listen to that high pressing, because it didn't go well for Ralph. That's a curious one to keep your eye out on. Last two questions. Ajax and United are both teams with very clear identities as clubs, but how important is it for you to bring your footballing philosophy to Manchester United? He said, quote, we don't have to go over my football. It's about the Man United football and the Man United identity and philosophy. I think that you pointed it out. It has to be attacking football. We have to bring structures in the way of playing, so we can play attacking football, which is quite interesting there, actually. He's saying, look, it's not really matters about what I want. It's about what Man United fans identify with and what Man United fans want. Man United fans want attacking football, so I will give you attacking football. Obviously, he will have his style of play and he will have his philosophy, certainly. I think he's almost trying to say there as well that it's quite a synergy. You know, my style is attacking football. We don't have to talk about it, but Man United fans want attacking football. I'm the Man United manager, so it's my responsibility to deliver said attacking football as well. Finally, you described Ajax as a fighting machine. Is that how you want to build this United team as well? He said, quote, always. Everywhere I was in my career, I have high demands on my players. I expect them to fight and give 100%. I already mentioned that only good is not good enough. No, not only that, we have to do better and they have to cooperate. They have to be unified to form a team and to battle the opponent, which again is the real key point he's been talking about there. Unity. Battling, fighting for each other, battle the opponent, which is so fascinating because, as I mentioned earlier on, it's the antithesis of what we've seen from Manchester United. We have seen no unity. We have seen no fight. We have seen players and teams just crumble, absolutely crumble at the first sign of opposition. When we concede a goal, collapse, 4 goals, 5 goals, you name it. Certainly a team that's divided, not fighting for each other, not fighting for the fans. And Erik ten Hag wants to see the opposite of that. If he can do that, then maybe we could see something special, but we'll have to wait and see. As I mentioned, they're just words. He is going to be talking to the press today at midday, where he'll certainly get some much stronger questions. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. As I mentioned, Flex, KG, and myself will be live after the press conference to break down all of his comments and discuss the new era of Erik ten Hag. Hope you have a great morning, and I'll speak for you again very soon. Peace.